This is Lewis Hart for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and William Hill. Delighted today to be joined with the IBF Super Bantamweight Champion Cherneka Johnson. We're taking on Ellie Scotney tomorrow night. How's things, mate? How's everything been?
You know what, this has been the best camp that I've ever had, and I'm really excited to be fighting here in the UK on such a big card, defending my bout. I'm very confident in the camp that we've had, and you know, just to be and still come Saturday night.
Just weighed in, sort of announced a new sort of sponsorship. What's sort of going on there?
You know, partnering with OnlyFans is something new, something exciting. There'll be lots of behind-the-scenes content never seen before on my Instagram. It's, you know what, there's going to be mixed emotions about it, especially in, I guess, women's and jumping on OnlyFans. But you know what, I feel like it gets to a point where it doesn't matter what anybody else says. I'm a big believer, if it makes you happy, just go for it. And at the end of the day, like, these people, they don't live your life, they're not in your shoes, so just do you and do what you want to do.
Another thing, you know, when you're boxing, it's important. How important is it to sort of have stuff outside the ring as well, like having sort of other incomes and other sources of income where you're not just relying on your money from boxing as well?
Do you know what? To do this partnership with OnlyFans, I think it's going to make life a whole lot easier just with traveling, not working. I feel like before all of this, I was sort of like, you know, you live week to week to sort of pursue in your career of boxing, whereas I feel like it's time to get ahead in this sport. So yeah, you definitely need to have good sponsors on board, and I'm looking forward to the partnership with OnlyFans.
100%. Well, we'll talk about Saturday night, taking on Ellie Scotney. A bit of a sort of pushback date due to sort of other, nothing to sort of really do in the ring. Was it sort of frustrating to have them sort of 3 weeks off, 3 weeks, you know, extra camp, or was it more of a benefit to you?
You know, well, like, it would have been absolutely incredible to be fighting on the Katie Taylor undercard, like just such a big moment for women's boxing. But I just feel like it is what it is. You can't be pick and choose, and here we are fighting in Wembley. Like, I'm still wrapped to be here. So if anything for me, it was more so I just kept more time to prepare.
What's it going to be like, sort of fighting at Wembley on a big stage like this? I know you're sort of a world champion, you've achieved that big dream, but coming to the UK fighting, how's that sort of going to be?
Coming to the UK, and I know the fans are absolutely mad for sports and for boxing. I feel like I'm going to really thrive off being the underdog here, especially coming to her backyard. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a very entertaining fight, and you know, the crowd sort of makes the night.
Do you feel like you're sort of being underestimated a little bit, would you say?
I'm most definitely underestimated here, and that's fine for me. Like, at the end of the day, everyone's got who they want to win and who they want to lose, and I feel like they're expecting something other than what they're going to get Saturday night. How
would you deal with the pressures of sort of the, like you said, being sort of people underestimating you? How do you sort of deal with that stuff where, you know, obviously people are hyping up Scotney, but do you take it in a disrespectful way? Like, how do you sort of deal with all them things?
I feel like I'm a very positive person. Like, I don't take things to heart. I don't feel like anything that around me is negative, I try and turn it into a positive. So for me, obviously, I'm not the favorite here, and I'm underestimated. So for me, that's a positive, because then I'm not under pressure. So wherever I can change my mentality of it being a negative to a positive, then that's what I'm going to do, even if it's just the slightest change of thinking, because any negative thoughts, it's just a drain, and you don't need that come fight week.
100%. That's very true. And, you know, another thing I sort of wanted to ask you about was, you just mentioned Katie Taylor there, and you look at the rise of women's boxing. How important is it for you that you're a world champion, you see the rise, and you see how far it's came? How special is that for you that you're a part of that as well, and things like that?
To be a part of the growth of women's boxing and to see it grow at this stage, it's incredible, because like, I remember when I first started, like, women weren't really getting the recognition they deserved, and they put in just as much work, if not more, than some of the guys, you know. And I feel like obviously the pay difference isn't quite there yet, but hopefully we can push it up there a little bit more by really growing the sport.
I was just about to say it now, because when you think about it, when you first laced the gloves, is it sort of great to see where it is now, but you also realise that, you know, we still got a long way to go?
It is, like, we still have such a long way to go, and from where I was fighting for, like, you know, very minimum wage for a 4-round fight to fighting at a world class level for a world title, it's getting better, but it's not amazing still.
And another thing I sort of want to talk to you about, not just the rise in women's combat sports, but in Australia and New Zealand as well, we see it sort of explode. We've got so many Australian sort of world champions now, even in the UFC as well, Australia and New Zealand world champions. Is it sort of great to see that, you know, the combat sports, especially in sort of that area, is, you know, it's getting put on the map and it's recognised as well as not just sort of in America, but the UK as well and everywhere else?
It is. It's great to see, because there's so much hidden talent in Australia and New Zealand, and slowly you've been able to see those hidden talents, and there's plenty more to come.
Well, sort of just as we sort of finish off this interview, how does Saturday night end tomorrow?
And still is all I can say. And still.
Cherneka, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you very much.